At this very moment, millions of people are having their thoughts predicted by machines. Your phone suggests your next word. Netflix picks your next show. GPS chooses your route through traffic. This is something new. Not the tools themselves. We've had calculators and computers and things like that for decades. What's new is that these systems adapt to you. They learn your patterns, anticipate your choices, and get better at helping you over time. Welcome to Society and Technology. We're going to explore how this happened, and more importantly, how it fits into a much longer story about humans and their tools. In 2006, a quiet Canadian professor named Geoffrey Hinton solved a problem that had frustrated computer scientists for decades. How to train artificial neural networks. Computer systems loosely modeled on brain cells. Hinton's breakthrough was this. Instead of programming computers with explicit rules, you could show them thousands of examples and let them find patterns on their own. Show a neural network enough photos of cats, and it learns to spot cats in pictures it's never seen. Nobody needs to tell it that cats have whiskers and pointy ears. It can figure that out on its own. Within a decade, this approach transformed multiple industries. It wasn't long before phones could understand your voice. Cars could park themselves. Email inboxes could recognize and block spam. Computers weren't just following orders anymore. They were recognizing patterns, making predictions, solving problems. For the first time in history, machines were doing something that looked like thinking. But step back and look at what's actually happening when you use these systems. Take Netflix recommendations. The system tracks what you watch, when you stop watching, what you rate highly. It finds patterns in this data and uses them to find things you'll enjoy in an ocean of options. GPS navigation does something similar with spatial data. It processes current traffic conditions, historical patterns, and route preferences to suggest optimal paths. The system handles computational tasks that would overwhelm human mental capacity. Similarly, translation apps learn from millions of text pairs to understand how meaning transfers between languages. They perform pattern matching at scales and speeds no human translator could manage, expanding our ability to communicate across cultural barriers that have existed for millennia. Even something as simple as autocorrect is doing statistical analysis of your writing patterns to predict likely next words. Every time autocorrect predicts your next word, you're experiencing something profound. A machine that has learned your thinking patterns well enough to finish your thoughts. This is something that psychologist Sherry Turkle called your second self. Technology that doesn't just serve you, but becomes part of who you are. This pattern, humans creating tools that amplify their intelligence, isn't new. It's one of the oldest stories in human history, and it's been driving technological development for millennia. 12,000 years ago, farmers invented the plow and started keeping records. In the process, they were, essentially, programming the earth to produce food and building external memory systems to track the results. 1,000 years ago, scribes were copying books by hand. Then Gutenberg's printing press automated the reproduction of knowledge, making information available to anyone who could read. 80 years ago, computers were room-sized calculators operated by specialists. Then personal computers put computational power on every desk. Today, you carry more processing power in your pocket than NASA used to land on the moon. And that processing power is learning from your behavior, anticipating your needs, augmenting your capabilities. Each breakthrough follows the same pattern. Humans figure out how to encode intelligence into their tools. There's a twist to this story. Geoffrey Hinton, the man who launched the AI revolution, quit Google in 2023 so he could speak freely about AI's dangers. The person who taught machines to learn is now worried they're learning too well. Sherry Turkle saw something like this coming back in 1984. She warned that as our tools become more human-like, we might become more tool-like. We become alone together, connected to our devices but isolated from each other. These aren't distant philosophical problems. They're affecting how you think, how you relate to others, how you make decisions every day. Understanding where we came from helps us figure out where we're going. So, we're going to work backwards through time. We'll start with neural networks, and then we'll trace similar patterns through the printing press, mechanical clocks, agricultural systems, and early writing. You'll see how Chinese farmers and Silicon Valley engineers approached similar problems with different tools. You'll read both Sumerian accounting records and contemporary AI research papers. You'll discover that many of the questions we're asking about artificial intelligence have been asked before about other technologies. By the end of this process, you'll see that AI isn't just the latest gadget. It's the newest chapter in one of humanity's oldest projects, using technology to transcend the limits of individual minds. The story of technology is the story of human intelligence. Let's see how we got here.